Okay, July 43, turn 15. This is the German turn, at least an abbreviation of it. I'm not going to show every little detail, but let's do some. The only combat I have is against this one here. And that's it. I was going to try to take over this island here with an airborne, but it's out of my range. So we'll skip that till next turn. We'll have to prepare that airborne for next turn. So that's the only combat I have. It's really simple. So I'm not bringing any aircraft in. I am just rolling the land units that are there. 2 advanced artillery at 3 in mountains. That's 1 hit. First strike. We're done. So just like that, it's worth nothing, but the Germans took it. So there we go. That is the German turn for the most part. I'm just going to move this up a little bit over here so you can see what they're going to build. Actually, no, that's not the full German turn. Let's do the Vichy turn as well. The Vichy Navy was sitting here at this naval base, and they had 2 infantry there that they'd taken over Syria with last turn. They have moved 1, 2, 3 to this location here and dropped the infantry off in French Somaliland so they don't completely lose them. They're on their way down because these guys now have a transport, so that's the only dollar they make. If they can take that, then the Free French are eliminated. They have no money, and that'll solve that problem. So we'll see what happens there. The French question is currently 6 for Vichy and 1 for one for the Free French. All right, I also have this here. I'm just pulling everything from here, here, and here. We're just piling it all on there on those 2 infantry. If we can eliminate those with our 5 infantry and 1 tank in a mountain zone, then the Civil War is finally over. So let's see if we can get that done. So we've got 5 infantry at 1 in mountains, and we got 2 1s. Good enough. And then we got 2 back at 4, and we got 1 hit. So there we are. This has been completed, and the rules have these Navy being eliminated if the faction's eliminated, instead of doing some kind of crazy roll or something. So these guys are all in there right now, and that is over. That faction is done. I'll have to double check the rules and see what I can do with the Spanish forces. I believe I can redeploy them, but I'll use what I usually end up doing is I just dump them all into here, and then allow if somebody, we'll figure it out later. But this way they don't get confused with the other stuff. So I even put the Navy in there. I'll figure them out in a second. That way I have an idea what I'm doing with them. All right. So that's the German turn for the most part. They are doing some builds. They're going to lend-lease the Italians. Another destroyer. So the Italians on their turn have the ability to move those, because it gets placed on the German turn. All right, they're also building a few ships. I have a couple of ships on the build chart from last turn. So they are going to complete from stage 2 to stage 3, 2 battle cruisers and a battleship. We're just going to throw them in here. There we go. So they got a half-decent Navy, and they're not going to non-combat move these aircraft up here into this location. none of their tech rolls are going to affect their building this turn, so I haven't bothered to do their tech, but I'll do them in a moment. And now we're going to move on to the Russian turn. They're in a bit of a odd predicament. They get a victory point for just having more on the border than the Japanese, and so far all they got to do is move these to a border zone, and they're there, and that would be right here. So they're holding off. They got enough forces up there, 5 tanks, 5 advanced mechs, and 5 infantry that they should be able to handle what the Japanese currently have up there. Down here, the Russians are not being imposed on by anybody at the moment. The British are so down in numbers because of their French defense that they're having a bit of a struggle trying to get units into these Eastern Egypt and whatnot. The Russians are currently doing okay here. They're going to just probably non-combat these guys in here and fly the planes back to the airbase up there. And that should be enough for them. I mean, if they decide to attack out, they're not super powerful, but at the same time, the Germans aren't super powerful either, and they're all spread out in different locations. The Russians do have a pile of tanks and advanced mechs that they're starting to build up. But as it sits now, nothing's really in full position to take over the Germans, and I wouldn't want to move too much to the border because then the Germans are going to start shifting their focus this way. Now, the Germans, as you can see, have quite a bit of stuff on this side because they've been just taking over the Netherlands and France in the last couple turns here. And the Americans and the British are starting to set up a transport truck. They got 3 here on the way. They got 3 new ones built there, guys to load on them. And if they build another set of 3 transports, they can literally deliver 6 units a turn. Just start a train. So we'll see what happens there. I think the Russian player is going to wait for that to happen, something to happen, before they get too involved with Germany. It's much easier to hit Germany with 2 fronts than it is to be the one taking the brunt of all their forces. And Germany does make a substantial amount of money. It makes just as much as the Russians with its bonuses, if not more. So we'll hold off on that for this turn, because unless there's a second front, you're pretty much committing suicide as Russia attacking the Germans. And we'll leave it at that. The Russians did build 5 tanks down here, 3 advanced mechs, 2 Katyushkas in Kursk, and they built an extra advanced mechanized up there in Leningrad. So nothing incredibly crazy. And the non-combats, they've just moved these 2 units a little bit closer to the southern border, and they moved the stack of advanced mechs into the city for a defensive wall on their border with the Germans. And that's the Russian turn. Okay, as for the Japanese, they have moved 3 destroyers. 1 that was here just stayed on escort duty. 2 that were in here. 1 has gone to here to go on escort duty where this convoying sub of the Australians was. And down here, they've moved 1 in to pair with this tactical to try and sink that American submarine. And that's what they're doing there. The only other combat that the Japanese have is they're going after Calcutta. So let me back this up just a little bit. There we go. So all these forces that are coming in here are coming off of, I had my fleet of transports here and destroyers, and I had a stack of transports and destroyers in here. What we've done from this major naval base here, transports have moved over to here. They've gathered up all these light tanks and a handful of infantry and whatnot, and then they've gone 2, 3 into here, where the destroyers have as well. And they've also loaded up, I got 5, 6, 7 destroyers and 10 tanks, so that's, I should have 17 units. So I've got 5, 6, 7, elite Marines, plus 2 more regular Marines for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 with the 4 light tanks. So that's the assault on that. We're also bringing in the fleet's Air Force of 3 tacticals, 2 fighters, and we'll have a bombardment from 2 battleships, a heavy cruiser and a light cruiser. And hopefully we've managed to complete the capture of Calcutta and eliminate the FEC from spending money next turn. So I'm just going to move this back a little bit so we can have a look, see at what we're going to do. So first things first is we've got 2 battleships at 4. That is 1 first strike hit. We've got 1 cruiser at 2. That's a miss at 3. And the light cruiser missed at 4 for the 1. Alright, so that's 1 first strike against the defenders. However, the defenders also have an artillery, so they roll 1 at 3. And they missed with the 6. So 1 first strike. If you're the defender, you're probably going to lose your militia because it rolls the lowest and it doesn't shoot back now. So let's move in for the next portion of this. We'll do the air battle here. So we've got 3 defending fighters and 2 attacking fighters. I'll do the attacking fighters in blue. Everything's rolling at 6. And we got 2 hits by the defense and none by the offense. Not very good for the Japanese. So let's just take off these 2 fighters. Alright, so what else has to happen in advance? Nothing else. These are the only things that happen. The rules seem to state that the air superiority happens before the land battle. Which makes sense, because otherwise you don't know whether you shot down an airborne troop in the plane or if he's already rolled on the ground. That kind of defeats that purpose. Alright, so let's do our attack. It's round 1. So only our infantry class units can land because we don't have attack transports. So we have 5, 6, 7 elite Marines rolling at 3. And we got 1 hit out of that. That's not very good. Just really hoping to keep more planes. Alright, and we got 2 regular Marines and 4 infantry rolling at 2. And we got 2 hits total out of that. 1 in this round, 1 in the previous round. And then 3 tacticals at 7. And we got 1 target selected hit on a land or naval unit. So we cannot target select the planes. So we're going to eliminate the tank. So that's a tank and 2 other units. I'm assuming they're going to take this and this because they roll lower. But they still get their chance to roll. So the fighters have already rolled in defense, so let's roll. So has the artillery, so let's roll the tank at 5. That's a hit. The anti-aircraft gun at 3s. No hits, thankfully. If it wiped out my Air Force, my attack would be done. And then we got 3, 6, 9 infantry. 9 infantry at 5 because they're in a city. And that's not very nice for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Insane. Insane. I needed to get way more hits this first round. I feel like I'm getting diced on round 1. Alright, so I need to lose 6 hits, so we're going to take, and I don't want to do double casualties, so we'll have to take off 6 Marines. 2, that's 7, or no, that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So that leaves me with 3 elite Marines, 4 infantry, and my 4 light tanks that get to get involved this round. So let's roll what didn't get in last time. We'll roll 4 light tanks at 4. Not one hit. 4 infantry at 2. Not one hit. And I cannot retreat from an amphibious assault, so otherwise I might think about doing it. 3 elite marines. There we go. We got 2 hits finally. Out of all of our land units. And we're going to roll with 3 tacticals at 7. And we got 1 hit. So we got a total of 3 hits on them. Brutal. Brutal. So if they only got 3 hits, I'm assuming they're going to lose 3 infantry. Which means they got to roll 9 infantry this round. We'll roll the 6 survivors. 2 hits. And we will roll 3 more that are taken. Oh my goodness, 4 hits now. And then 3 fighters at 6. And that's 3 more hits. So that's insane. That's 7 hits. This is not going to work well. I can retreat with my planes, but not the units on the land. So that's 4 infantry and 3 marines, leaving me with just the 4 light tanks and the 3 tacticals. I'm keeping those only because these roll at 4 and these roll at 7. And so far I have not been having any good luck. And these 4 light tanks are trapped in the fight. I could retreat with my tacticals, but 4 at 4. Well, we got 2 hits there. Let's roll 3 at 7. We've got 1 hit. So that's 3 hits on them again. There we go. They got 3 infantry left. They're going to roll their 6 infantry that they had at the start of the round. And they get 3 hits out of their infantry. And 3 fighters. That is a 9. So they got 4 hits in total, which means that they will eliminate our land attack completely. And we will not attack again, and we will retreat our tactical bombers onto our aircraft. Whew, brutal. So this entire fleet is now currently located here. That was a very costly battle. The Japanese lost about half of their total land forces in the game. And the FEC still have their income. And they have all these other units that are stacked up that could possibly counterattack into Siam. And or be used to stack the capital of Calcutta so they don't lose their income. All right, so let's get rid of all these. So that was 17 land units that the Japanese lost. And and 2 fighters. And the defenders lost a tank, artillery, anti-aircraft gun, and 6 infantry. And that's it. Oh, and a militia. 1 militia that got first strike. Hit by the bombardment. So that is a brutal, brutal round. Let's see what happens over on this one here. It's a tactical at 7 and a destroyer at 4. Alright. Tactical is orange. No hits. Now, if you're the sub, you would probably retreat. Because you have an option not to shoot back on your turn. And that's what I would do. which means that this tactical bomber is going to return to the fleet up here. And the Japanese did build a bunch of land units to replace what they lost. So I'm just going to fire them onto the island here. We've got 2 elite Marines, 2 regular Marines. We're going to move these guys out of the capital. And we're just going to place 5 new ones in the capital instead. And they did successfully start 3 battle cruisers on the build chart and complete 2 regular cruisers. So they've got 3 battle cruisers at position 2 and 2 cruisers that were on position 2 last turn that are now placed. So they're starting to develop enough Navy down here that they more than outmatch the Americans. And the Americans are going to need to start putting some more units on this side of the board. All right, so that's what we see here. They've managed to build what do we got? 9 land units, 2 ships, start 3 battle cruisers. They don't have a ton of Navy over here. They got 6 destroyers, 2 heavy cruisers, and 3 light carriers with aircraft. The Americans are coming in, but they're not as advanced as you think. They got 2 fast battleships, 2 regular battleships, 4 destroyers, 2 cruisers, and a carrier with 1 of each type of aircraft. Although they do happen to have these Japanese forces that aren't, or sorry, these Australian forces that can threaten the Japanese from down here as well. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, hopefully we get somewhere. And that was the Japanese turn. Complete failure on the landing zone. Although they did eliminate a pile of units, they eliminated more of their own. Almost the entire force that had been capturing and taking over China has been eliminated in Calcutta. The British only have 1 attack this turn. They're going to try this again. The problem is that the British only have 4 transports, so every time we deliver 2 guys, the other transports have to go back and try to grab 2 more. And this is really wearing out the Italian income in building units. So we'll see what happens. The Italians have 3 infantry and 1 marine in a city defending at 5. And the British are attacking with 2 regular marines. They'll be bringing in a fighter and a tactical. And they'll be bombarding with 1 battleship, 1 battle cruiser, and 2 cruisers. I'm just calling them cruisers because I know technically they're heavy cruisers, but that seriously confuses people at my game table that are a little bit newer, because everything else that's heavy is the advanced version. But in this one, we call it a battle cruiser. So let's figure this out. So 1 at 4 for the bombardment, 1 at 3, 2 at 2, nothing. All right, 4 Marines are landing at 2. Wow, look at that. They got 2 hits. The Japanese could have used that just last turn. A 1 tactical at 7. That is also a hit. And a fighter at 6. That's a 1 miss. All right, so the Italians have 1 unit left. Nothing was first strike hit, though. So they just need to get 4 hits if they can on this round, and then they keep the land. So we'll see what happens here. The Italians are rolling 4 at 5. Oh, they get 2 hits. That is all they get. So they lost 3 of their own, and the British are going to lose 2 of theirs. All right, let's try round number 3. The bombardment does not happen again. So we got a fighter at 6, a tactical at 7. That is a hit at a 2. That's all we needed. So we got 1 at 5 in defense, and that is a hit as well. So the British luckily take it over with 1 survivor. This back and forth here seems to be an endless problem. Endless problem here. So we'll have to figure out what's going to happen next. Let's throw that up there. Whew. I don't know what the Italians are going to do in retaliation, because there's only one unit there, but they're really starting to run out of units in their home territory. So, yeah, the British have a rather substantial stacks up here in London and whatnot. So what Britain is actually going to do this turn is they're building one tank down in South Africa. They're building a colonial in eastern Egypt. So one tank down here, a colonial in here. This guy's going to walk back up. Sorry, don't mean to bounce the camera much, but that guy's going to walk from Nubia up there after taking over the Italian. This guy in the Belgian Congo is going to walk out, and we'll rail an infantry all the way up. And I got a phone call, so we're going to finish this turn off in a hurry. That leaves me with 3 more tanks to build and 1 infantry. So these are all going to be built up here. We're going to build 1 up here in the northern England, 2 tanks down here, along with 1 infantry. And just so that our transports are probably going to need these guys, and they need the range, so they need these guys to be in the British Midlands. So we'll move 2 of those infantry there, and we'll move 4 regular infantry over, leaving us with 6 infantry and an airborne down there. Oh, I should have brought the guy in airborne, although it's kind of good that I didn't, because he's not going to defend well with only 1 dude. Hopefully the Italians don't attack that place in Gibraltar again. So that is the British turn. That was their build on this side. Over here on this side, there's not going to be any combats. These guys are turtling a little bit. The Japanese don't have anything in range, but we need to turtle a bit of a stack in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move these 2 Gurkhas to Calcutta. We're going to build another artillery in Calcutta. We'll build a Gurkha up here in Bengal. And we'll place a colonial infantry over here, because I want to be able to attack Siam pretty soon. And right now we're about even Steven here, except for he's defending at 4 and I'm attacking at 3. With the Gurkhas and 2 with those, and I only have the 3 planes. I could do it, but the odds are in his favor on the dice. Doesn't mean anything in each specific round, but in general, the odds are in his favor. So we'll see what happens. And that is the British turn for the most part. I just what's the Japanese again? The Australians are going to do something with their fleet. We might as well take $1 off the Japanese here, since their fleet's kind of out of position. So 1, 2, 3 with the whole fleet. We're going to take Dutch New Guinea. We will be bringing an infantry and a marine up, and we're going to move the whole darn thing up there. And I'm in the process of repainting my light cruisers, because the silver was too close to the white of the transports. So I'm going with the light gray. So that's why I'm using this gray chip again. Alright, so that is the Australian turn, and they had enough money, and they now have a medium factory, so they can build more than 1 unit a turn. So they're just going to build 3 infantry and add them to their stack. So they now have 9 infantry stacked up in Sydney. And if they're fluky with their rolls, the same way that Calcutta was, they should be able to hold on to that with that stack. Okay, so the French had a whole $3. They saved 2 from the turn before and collected 1 this past turn. So they are going to increase their income. They're moving the entire fleet up into here where the British are. And they are going to attack Morocco. There's nothing there, so they just get it. So the French go up to $2. The Vichy go down from 6 to 5. And the French spent their $3 to build an infantry at their factory down here. So that's all. That's the whole gist of it. And I'm just going to back up just enough so that you can see where the Vichy fleet is over here, and you can see the French fleet way over there. They're like playing a game of keep away here with each other. So we'll see what happens. The French fleet's no slouch either. Like the Vichy's got a battleship, a light cruiser, and a sub. But the French fleet's got a pair of cruisers a pair of destroyers and a sub as well. So they both are not amazing. The Vichy's got 1 extra hit, and 2 of their dice are going to be a little bit higher. They both got transports. They both got infantry they're floating around with. It could be an interesting game. So we'll see what's going on with the Vichy and the French. And let's just turn that. Look at that. I should have done that the first time. So yeah, we got Vichy way over here. Their battleship, light cruiser, transport, and sub. A couple of dudes that they're dragging around. And then the French are running away from them, going over here and taking their stuff. So I don't know what Vichy's going to do. Maybe Vichy comes back in this way to try and protect their dollars up here. Because these French guys can just start walking in now. So maybe Vichy's got to do something. We'll see. I don't know what's going on with these guys. It's kind of a sidebar. Anyway, that's the whole French turn. They started with $1. Now they get to collect 2. So there's not much really going on with them. This whole Vichy thing is entertaining, but it's about as large and expansive as the Spanish Civil War, and equally insignificant in the grand scheme of the game. But an entertaining sidebar. Okay, it's the Italian turn, and I'm going to show you the Mediterranean. There is going to be 2 Italian attacks. They're taking 6 infantry out of Rome with these transports, keeping 1 destroyer there so that the plane can't just fly in and kill them. And they're bringing in 1 fighter from Sardinia's air base, so it's moving 2 and 2. Down here, everything's moved 1 or 1-2 to get here. Plenty of room to move. We've got 2 coastal subs, a torpedo boat destroyer, 5 destroyers, 1 light cruiser, 2 regular cruisers, a damaged battleship, an undamaged battleship, a tactical, and a fighter, versus 1 battleship, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 destroyer, 1 torpedo boat destroyer, a light carrier, and a fighter. And this transport is not involved, I don't think, but the British haven't quite reached their attack transports. And one of the techs, it's either anti-submarine warfare, radar, or something, gives the transports an ability to shoot at in defense. So I'm just going to double check here. Oh, yeah, there we go. They have advanced anti-submarine warfare, which means you'll find it on page 31. In regular combat, all naval transports defend at 1, allocating any hit to attacking submarines. So they can only shoot submarines, but this transport does get to roll a 1 in defense, and if it gets a hit, it takes out a submarine. So that's our big thing. And over here we've got 1 Marine defending against a fighter and 6 infantry. So if I could ever find my dice, we can get this whole thing kicked off. Let's do Gibraltar first, because if Gibraltar fails, then this Italian Rome is going to be pretty empty. Although I am building 3 infantry, 2 marines, and finishing a battle cruiser. I have improved constructions for Italy, so that's $1 cheaper. And they're saving $1, so they're spending 22 and saving 1. All right, so let's do that attack over there first. So 3, 4, 5, 6 infantry at 2 or 1, sorry, because it's mountains. No hits. 1 fighter at 6. That's a miss too, so we got no hits that way. And the Marine gets a hit, so unfortunately, that means 2 double casualties. I wish I had thought of that and brought a Marine, but I don't have any. So, all right, so now we do this again. We got 4 infantry, and I'm going to throw in a blue one here for the fighter on attack. No hits. This is going to get expensive. And no hit back by the British. I'm going to throw the British defense at 5 here in the orange. So let's do this again. 4 infantry at 1 in black, a fighter in blue. My goodness. All right, so now we got 3 left. I can't seem to buy a hit for the Italians today. Now we're down to 3 infantry, a fighter, and 1 marine defending. There we go. The fighter got a hit, finally. The 3rd round it took to get 1 hit for the Italians with 7 dice rolling. Insane. And the British Marine failed to defend. So we've got that, and I'm just going to show my work by returning over there for now. It would have been, with those odds, I was hoping to have more units stacked in Gibraltar, but looks like the British are going to send down 4 units again and take it again. This is starting to get ridiculous. Let's see here. There's got to be a way that we can defend that some other way. We'll have to figure it out here. All right, now I got this battle down here. It's going to be a lot of rolling here. Let me just back that up just a little bit so you can see what I all have. Let's put that transport over here so you can see it. All right, so there are no first strikes on either side because everybody's got destroyers. So we're just going to roll out our 5 destroyers first at 4 for the... We've got 2 hits. Then we're going to roll out our 2 coastal subs at... Ooh, let's double check those things. I don't want to say I'm wrong because I know some of the stuff's changed in these things since I played my first game here. Coastal sub is defense at 2 and attack at 2. All right, so 2 coastal subs. And I'm going to roll an orange one for my torpedo boat destroyer. All 3 of them are at 2. And we did get 1 target selected hit with one of the subs. We'll figure out which one we're going to take with that here. All right, so that's 1 target select. I am going to leave the orange one up here so I know that. Light cruiser at 5. 2 heavy or regular cruisers at 6. That's 2 more hits. We've got 1 damaged battleship at 6. 1 undamaged battleship at 8. That's another hit. And then a tactical at 7. That's another hit. And this is the one for your superiority here, so we're going to give them yellow and purple so we can kind of figure out. It's not the same but close enough to the colors there. 2 fighters, 1 on each side. Yellow's British, and these guys got a hit, and the 11 is not a hit. So there we go. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 hits. I don't believe 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's everybody except for the transport. but the transport's an auto kill if everybody else is dead. Although I'll give it a chance to roll one other sub. All right, so we've got transport at 1 against the sub, missed. We've got a light carrier, and I'm just going to double check this here. It defends at 1. I know they don't have attacks. Oh, look at that. There's a hit. The fighters have both rolled. Battleship at 8. 2 heavy cruisers at 7 or 6. I got a 7 and a 4 there. Destroyer at 4. Torpedo boat destroyer at 2. That's a 6. So we got 3 hits back. So everything here is wiped out except for the transport, which has to be taken last. So, and then they got 3 hits back on me. So what I'm going to do with those 3 hits is I'm going to take off the 2 subs. And the torpedo boat destroyer. And since the transport can only shoot at subs in defense, and there's no subs here, it's just gone. It's kind of an odd roll. So there we go. The Italians fluked out on this end. Didn't do so well on the other end with the land battle, but they did successfully get this done. So they got the ability to build 5 units in Rome with their majors. So they're going to put down 3 regular infantry, 2 Marines in Rome, and they will place this battle cruiser on this side here, I think. And these will return to the air base here in Sardinia. All right, so that is the Italian turn. Very successful, moderately successful. And I didn't do anything with the British against this one place here yet. That's just because I'm trying to get my Navy in here. And right now these guys are holding it down, so it's hard for the Italians have to deal with double casualties, and they're so busy over there. So that is that. I haven't shown you this with anybody else. I just don't care to show you everything I'm doing, but Italy's so small that it's worth it. So Italy just got itself a bonus because it has no enemy warships in the Mediterranean of +2, and it's taken Gibraltar again, so it gets +2 to its income. It hasn't changed its income at all because it hasn't taken over anything that's worth $1, but these are primary concerns if it wants to keep its fleet alive from not getting sandwiched by the fleet that's over here and the fleet that was there at the same time. It's not doing great, but it's got a better chance. All right, Wartime Economy, $4. So they got $4 from Wartime Economy, and they get $4 from their bonuses, plus they collect a grand total of 8. That brings Italy up to 12. Not a... Oh, no. Sorry. That brings Italy up to 16. So they saved $1. Italy's got 17 to spend next turn. We'll see what we can do with that. It looks like they're probably going to need to build some infantry, because every time they take over Gibraltar, they lose all their units. And as you can see, there's not a lot of land units here. We've got 6, including a militia up here, a German cavalry, 3 infantry, and a militia up there. And we got a couple militias here. I guess we could probably move that mountain unit out of there, but we'll see. All right, so that is the Italian turn in full, since it's so small. And it's kind of pivotal, so I figured you might want to see that. Okay, the American turn. They moved the 3 transports that were here to here. They split their fleet in half, just in case the British decide to take off. These ones are closer, so I decided to give them the coastal bombardment units the access to the friendly naval base. So they had a +1 move that allows them to threaten Norway, Denmark, Gibraltar, and anywhere in between. So effective, I hope. These 3 transports moved in from down there to here, so that's what we've done. And built 3 more transports. We dropped down two of these guys, 2 Marines and 3 infantry And we've also started 2 fast battleships, 2 fleet carriers, and we did place on this side over here, we did place a fighter and a tactical. So now there's one combat that these guys are going to do. Since their friendly neighbors have done this and have taken this and their fleets here, we wanted to give them a little bit of protection with the Americans. So we're going to come in and we're going to attack this over here. The Caroline Islands will take over that naval base as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring everybody in here. Because why not? Does it have an air base? It does, so that if you're playing that optional rule, you can land that dude. And we're just going to take the whole Navy in here. I'll show it later. But everybody's coming in here, and that means that these aircraft can fly 1, 2, 3 and land on the carrier. So they'll be in there as well. I don't think I really need them in there, but why not? So we've got 2 fast battleships, 2 regular battleships, 2 regular cruisers, and that'll make 6 bombards, and that's good enough for us. 4 transports driving in 8 dudes, but and a stack of destroyers here. So that's what we're doing. Everybody's in this zone here, which I believe is 99. Yep. So I'll clean that up later. So that's one attack against 1 militia, and it is not mountains. So there we go. It should be relatively simple. Let's just put this right here. So with that attack there, I got a whole pile of first strikes from my battleships. So I got 4 battleships at 4. Not 1 hit. Oh, that's unfortunate. 2 cruisers at 2. There we go. We got a hit. Yeah, undefended. That's the first strike. So there we go. We're done. So that's it. The Japanese. Is this worth anything? I don't believe it is. But it is worth a strategic base and air base. Naval and air base. So there we go. Everybody gets some movement bonuses from that. So I'll have to move everybody down again in a bit. So that is the American turn. And the Americans did not get Wartime Economy or anything. So we're just, that's it. That's the turn. That's the combats.